How do we start it though? Just like that, hey? Hey, Darryl.
Yeah. Hey, Jeremy, how you doing?
I'm doing well, Darryl. Good to see you again. You're here. I don't know if anybody noticed or if you haven't watched our first episode yet, you can go back and see it. But when we were done
Yeah.
recording, Darryl had mentioned that it kind of looked like I might have looked like a kind of Disney character there with the way I had my discs set up. So in honor of that, I've come prepared with
There you
my
go.
R2D2 ears
That's
that I
all,
picked up.
that's almost perfect. Those just
And actually,
they look like they're just sitting on the shelf right now.
well, I'm not going to wear this the whole episode. I just thought you might get a kick out of that.
Okay.
Now, I know I threw this on you. We didn't discuss this. So put on your
Yeah.
thinking cap here and shoot some
Yeah.
holes in my idea.
The bit of a pause there was me taking a second to try and think the pros and the cons.
And all you can
I,
think of is how wonderful the idea is, right?
I yeah, we'll end the episode there.
Yeah, no, no.
Or should I say, it could be partly my catchphrase? You know that I like your idea, but you're wrong.
Ouch.
I
So
don't
what?
know. I don't necessarily love the idea. I'm not going to say I hate it. I'm just
Okay.
trying to think why I don't like it. I
Hey,
think
everybody. Welcome to Chain Out, the disc golf podcast for Canada. Nope, I'm not doing that one. I got lost. I got lost.
I could
I,
feel you were like searching for words.
I'm like, I went way beyond the simple thing.
Yeah.
Uh, so we'll do it again. 5 seconds. It'll just be simpler. I think what it is I don't know what
Episode 3?
it's episode 3, but do I want to call it the Chain Out or Welcome to Chain Out podcast? Episode 3, I think.
Chain Up Podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Because that's how we've got it labeled. So.
Yeah.
With you. I'm Jeremy, and with me, as always, is Darryl.
Hello, everybody. How's it going, Jeremy?
Going well, Darryl. How about you? How you feeling, buddy?
I don't know. Can you tell? My voice is. I'm not. I got that bit of a sexy Barry White voice going on. I think,
Oh,
or
you
just
say sexy Barry White. I was thinking maybe a little Phoebe Buffet smelly cat
Phoebe.
voice there.
Yeah.
Podcasting energy that we've got is like a healing energy. That's what I'm
There
going to
you
say.
go. Yeah. Channeling my inner Phoebe Buffet.
Yeah, there you go. Well, thanks, everybody, and we'll see you on the next
Smelly
one.
cat,
Until
smelly
then.
cat. Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 33 of Around the Basket
Yeah,
with me, your host, Darryl,
that's right.
and my co host, Jeremy, sitting over here to my right. How are you doing?
I am doing great, Darryl. It is good to be back into some semblance of normal again.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I apologize to all of our listeners who were watching the end of the Chain Out
I didn't
podcast
think
there.
we were going to address it.
Oh, I was going to just touch on it a bit. I kind of, I think it was a callback to our old episodes when we would do our pre-records.
Yes.
And people may think we're very, very super serious guys.
We have an
We're
outline. We know what
always,
we're saying.
yeah.
Yeah.
This is exactly how it's going to be. But every now and then, and it's never anything specific, but something might just catch our fancy, gets the giggles going. And then once the giggles start, you had to actually leave the podcast.
I couldn't. Yes. I thought I could get it back. There was a few times where I thought, okay, this is done. It wasn't. I didn't even know what we were laughing at.
Well,
I was laughing at
that's
you.
the funniest thing about
Yeah.
it sometimes is the giggles will do that, right?
Exactly. You went, I went. I thought I had it back at a few times, but I could just tell in your voice when you started to laugh, and I just couldn't hold on. And I honestly thought there was a point where I just had to hit end because I didn't think we would both get through it. But
Well, I hope people
maybe that
enjoyed
is,
it too, because
yeah,
it's you know what it is always one of those things. It's maybe too. It's a nice way to let off a little steam and everything
yeah.
else. It just gives you makes you feel better. But we're on around the basket.
Maybe that's what happens to you when you get old.
Yeah, it gets locked up inside you, and when it comes out, it's not even worth stopping it.
No,
Just
exactly.
go with it.
It happens to the elderly.
Yeah, and we also had a chance there at the very end there. Trevor Okrafka. Someone don't do it again. No, but Trevor Okrafka jumped in, and I had forgotten about that Brooklyn was down at Junior World,
Yeah.
and
We
she
we totally didn't mention it in the recap or anything like that.
well, the show was a little bit different for us, which I wonder what people thought about it. Like, I know we went a bit long with Chad and Carrie, but that's because Carrie has always got so much
Oh yeah.
good information to share, and especially with the way they run tournaments and that it's a good one to be at. But it was kind of neat because we had Noah come on first, which usually we have the MPO come on at the end of the as the final guest.
Mm-hmm.
We had Noah on right away. We did a quick recap with him, and then had Jessica was ready right in the room after that, and then Chad popped in, and then Carrie was right there. It was like bang bang bang.
I was just,
Why not do it that way?
yeah, I think that was a part of the first time that we were able to roll from guest to guest to guest. Like in as soon as we finished, our outline, we had the last question. As soon as we got to that last question, or we were saying goodbye,
Mm-hmm.
the next guest was right there in the chat, and it was like rolling from one to one. There was no pausing. There's no waiting for the next guest. It's awesome.
Yeah, and we talk about it. Like you said, we do have an outline, and we do kind of set up an episode in a certain format that we think people are going to want to hear and want to listen. And then sometimes things mix up, so it actually shakes us up a little bit too. And maybe that was it. We were just a little
Mm-hmm.
shaken up from that side of it.
Yeah.
But in any event, I enjoyed it. Carrie and Chad too, right? Like having that person who can be there to let Carrie be the front of
Mm-hmm.
the face, I guess, of the TCO, but then make sure that Chad's there in the background, dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's,
Yeah.
clicking all the bits and all the bytes, and doing all the things kind of like what you do with the podcast and keeping it running. And people don't
You know,
realize what's happening there, but it's
that
what makes it happen.
that is a very good analogy to say. Obviously not to the same degree,
Hmm.
but we definitely do have our roles on the podcast, and I'm not very good at doing your role. You've done my role before, and you made it through. I could put I
Passable,
could put
maybe.
yeah, I could put passable questions down and sort of thing, but it wouldn't have the flair. And maybe the episodes don't go as smoothly when you're on this side.
Oh
So
yeah.
we definitely have our lane that we're in, and we definitely complement each other, and that's why we come out with such a high quality product.
Yes.
Yeah.
On 86 of 87 episodes.
80, 86, 87, or 87 and three quarters.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Because it right up until then. Well, and we got Dylan in the chat. So hey, Dylan, thanks for joining us. Hopefully you enjoyed the end of the last episode there. But Darryl, we'll keep this one a little bit shorter. We're
Yeah.
starting it later. I just kind of had one topic that I thought might be interesting, and the reason it came to my mind
Mm-hmm.
is it's pretty much the question is how do you become a better disc golfer? And I know, oh, just go out and play or whatever the case
Right.
is. But I'll tell you is that I've been playing now for 3 years, and I'll have some great days and some rougher days and that type of thing. And I
Mm-hmm.
went out last night to league, and I was throwing some practice throws at the beginning, trying to, I love Holland Hanley's little short teaching videos. And
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think one of her more recent ones were how to get that sway and get the weight transfer and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I was keeping an eye on that and trying to do a couple things. And you throw some throws and they go good. And then I started to have a few throws that you might remember from last year where they'd come out and they'd come out pretty quick, but they'd have that hyzer finish to them
Mm-hmm.
and they just go flinging to the left. So it wasn't your classic newbie hyzer of
Right.
just going 100 feet. Like these things are going 250 or whatever they're doing and they're flying and then they're really yanking and they're not even under stable discs.
Mm-hmm.
So I have that going on in practice. I play the first 3 holes of my, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, but you were watching along there. I play the first 3 holes of
Yeah.
my round and I get 3 birdies in a row
Right.
and then proceed to hit a tree on the fourth. And it was just not consistent.
Yeah.
So my whole question is if you want to become a better disc golfer, what's the way to go about it? And let's start with this. Or do you want to go?
No, you carry on.
I was going to say, why don't we start with coaching? And I've had Gabe Piska done lessons with him in a group setting and even had an individual lesson with him. And I felt it was pretty good. You weren't always sold on coaches, not Gabe in particular, just in
Right.
coaches in general was your opinion. But I want to know where you're at now, because most recently you went out to Smith Lake Farms
Yeah.
and you got to be in some coached clinics with Nate Sexton, Thomas Gilbert, Sophia Donica, Chance Stad.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
So I don't. It's kind of a double-edged sword for me, or maybe even a 3 or a 4 edge, because I think there's so many facets to. I mean, I don't know. To your original question, how to become a better disc golfer.
Yes, is the first part of it. And then just
In my opinion, I don't know, but I would like to kind of throw it out to the chat and anybody listening, and because I'm pretty sure. Let's take Edmonton just for a group of core people as an example.
mhm,
We have 500 tags last year. We were pushing 400, and so out of those 400 and so people, how many of them are better than you?
right.
Quite a lot.
Mhm,
How many of them have taken private coaching lessons? How many of them have really worked on their form, as opposed to, and I think this is the what goes for the majority of us, is we pick up a disc, we watch a video on how to do an X step.
mhm,
We know we got to reach behind, we know we've got to pull it forward, and we let go of the disc. Like, do people actually get better, or are some people just born with the natural mechanic to be able to throw a disc, and
mhm,
they just from day one their timing is right? That's just what feels comfortable to them, and that's why they're a good disc golfer. Did Noah or Casey or Thomas, did they go and get coaching lessons? Did they work on their form, or is it something that they just know? Okay, well, what I know I'm doing is I'm not, you know, um, I'm rounding instead of reaching back, or like
mhm,
so. From an average person, I don't think coaches. I don't think everyone goes to coaches. Not everyone can afford to go to a coach or have the willingness to go to a coach and is going to learn, especially with the internet nowadays. Like we've said, and we can bring it up a little bit later, is what is the correct form for disc
mhm.
golf anyway? But if you watch YouTube videos on disc golf form and coaching and things like that, you can pretty much find it all available online. You don't need to pay for it, so it's all out there. But um, what do you take from this coach versus that coach? Is that coach any better? Is this the proper form? Is this the proper form? Is it just because that form works with my body and my mechanics?
Mm,
A 300-pound guy is not going to have the same form probably as a 100-pound FJ15 sort of thing.
mhm.
So, does coaching adapt to, or can a good coach adapt to an FPO versus MPO, an MA50 versus an FJ18?
Mhm.
So I don't necessarily think coaches, and this would be my, sticking point on coaches, are they teaching their own philosophy of disc golf and not really adapting it to the person themselves?
Okay. Well, and it's interesting that you say that, because I know, for example, there are some people who have some strong opinions of what form is, and we're saying, is there a good form? Is there a consistent regular form right now?
Mm-hmm.
But when you think, we had Frisbee Rob on, and
Right.
I remember specifically him mentioning that all the people teaching how to throw frisbees are teaching it wrong. And we didn't
Right.
get a chance to dive into what's the right way, because that would have been an
That
hour
could be in its own
conversation
on
on
its
top of
own.
it. That would have
Yeah.
been its own episode. But I'm really interested to find out what some of those things are, because you hear all of these things, whether it's, reach straight back, you're pulling the lawn mower, you push down with your pinky and push with, it was one of the ones you'd brought back from Smith Lake Farms, to how to get nose down, to
Right.
push with your thumb and grab with the back of your hand.
Backloaded grip. Yeah.
You also have drop your shoulder, turn your head back, all of these things. What is the right way? Because to me, you can even watch um, Pro Disc Golf Academy and see Yuli break it down step by step. But as you said, is that the step by step that's going to work for our body types or for everybody?
Right.
And why is it that when you do try to do those things, you can't get it?
Mm-hmm.
And you had mentioned Noah, for example. He started when he was young. So do you think that and he doesn't follow the rule of saying, oh, we have to be tall and lanky, you have to be Gannon Burr
Right.
in order to do it. And that's, you just have a long lever, you're going to have a good form,
Mm-hmm.
because Noah wouldn't fit that typical frame size.
Right.
But is his maybe that he's done the 10,000 hours that they say to be good at anything? Is that where he's gotten his? And just this last 2 weekends, he's hit his 10,000 hours
That could be it,
essentially,
yeah.
right? But yeah, that's
No.
what I'm wondering, because I really, as a player, you go out there and you play in your leagues, and we play in tournaments, and it's for fun for sure, and we're
Mhm.
getting to see people, but I want to get better
Right.
and I want to get consistent. And when you have these lulls and these dips, it can be quite frustrating.
I mean, I'm no coach, but I have filmed you when you're throwing and all that, and we watch it back together and we look at it and we say, "Oh, I see what you did there. Like you did this or that." And then we goes back to looking at videos online of saying, Tristan Tanner is another one who comes up with short little bits to work on if you want to do this, if you want to do that. But going back to Holland Hanley, let's say your sway thing and bringing your knees together, like your back knee and things like that. One thing that I think could work, if you take all of those things that you learn, that you're supposed to reach straight back, you're supposed to back load, you put your thumb down, whatever the little tidbit of form that you need to work on.
Right.
And I want to transfer that over to the experience that I did have at Smith Lake Farm with Nate Sexton. He put it more on his putting routine, and I explained it to you before about imagine a big Ferris wheel, and every little car on that Ferris wheel is something that you need to work on. So let's take it away from putting, but put it into your form.
Okay.
So let's say, okay, in your form, you need to backload your grip. So you put that in one little Ferris wheel. The next thing could be, like you said, dropping your shoulder, keeping so put that in another Ferris wheel. Another one could be not looking with your head where the disc is, but keeping your head faced back until you pull through. And then, so that could be in another Ferris wheel. All these different things, then your knees, your hips, all these things are in different Ferris wheels.
Right.
So for 1 week, you take whatever Ferris wheel, whatever car is at the bottom of the Ferris wheel, that's the thing that you work on. So let's say you want to work on your reach back. You don't want to round. You want to make sure that you're always reaching back straight. That's the thing that you work on, and consciously you think of doing that for the whole week. Anytime you go out and play a practice round or you do field work, that's all you focus on is your reach back. You don't need to focus on any other part of your form. Reach back is all you do for a week. Once your week is up, you should have practiced enough and done enough field work that it starts to become second nature, that's what you're doing because that's what you're focused on that much.
Right.
As that week has gone through, that little Ferris wheel has moved, and then another car is down at the bottom now. So now you're working on your back-loaded grip. So for the next week, all you do is making sure every time you do a drive or anywhere where you need that power, you're making sure in your mind, okay, got to backload the grip, got to hold it, backload the grip, push down with the thumb. That'll keep the nose down. That's what you work on for a week. The reach back, you haven't forgot because it's become second nature. So now you're working on another bit of form.
Right.
And I think that is a better approach to work on one thing for a week, as opposed to what we've done in the past is, okay, what have I got to do? I've got to keep my knees together, reach back straight, tip the shoulder, keep the head back, pull through, get it in the power pocket, keep the elbow up, all of these things. Trying to do that all in one go is just too many things, too many points to focus on in such a split second of time. I don't think you're ever going to be able to narrow it down to one thing. And maybe like we've had pros on before that say, yeah, my putting was off a little bit. My wrist was out. And we're like, you can tell when your wrist is out. Like once you get it dialed in, those little pieces that go out of sync will become more in tune because you have practiced it so much. But I think it's easier in my mind is what if I was a coach or if I'm going to try and get into that aspect of learning, you can only focus, it makes more sense to focus on one thing fully, devote your attention to one thing until it becomes second nature than trying to fix 3 or 4 things at once.
Yeah. And I think you did a good way of linking that to the putting one, because it was pretty easy to see with putting, because for the most part there's some simple mechanics to it, right? Like you can really break down the putting stroke to make it simple. But with the throwing, motion. It's a lot different. And I think I want to keep talking about it, but let's get the chat back involved. And if we
Yeah.
go back and we take a look at what Dylan said right at the start when we were talking about tags, well,
Oh.
you are right now number 59. So that means you're the 59 best out of 500,
Sure.
which doesn't maybe mean that exactly, but we can
No.
say it does. And
But
if that's the case, then that means that Dylan
is the 10th best,
in the league and is
and his partner is number 15.
nice.
Yeah.
And then what did we
But
get out of
so
Dylan and Brock there regarding the
we
coaching?
we got a few different aspects of trying to learn or trying to get better. Dylan
Mhm.
says, play more, play with people that will push you. Don't be afraid of the feedback, which is always good. Like,
Yes.
I mean, some people give feedback too much, and then other people will only ask for, give you feedback if it's asked for. So
Mhm.
that's always a good way to be, a good thing to ask for feedback if you think someone's better than you and ask them for tips.
Well, I think I can tell you with what Dylan's saying there. We've had the chance to play with Dylan and Steve Newman, and
Mhm.
Uncle Steve has got a lot of good advice, but he won't give it unsolicited.
Right.
And I had an opportunity, Winter League a year ago, to play with him,
Hmm.
and asked him for some tips, and then he would only give me 3.
Right.
He's like, I'm not going to give you anything more because it's not going to help you.
Yeah.
So that kind
comes
of
back
goes to what you're saying.
There you go.
Hmm.
We were talking about the coaches and whether coaches are good because they, not necessarily are coaches good, but are they teaching you the right form,
Right.
things
Yeah.
like that. So Brock says he thinks it's on the learner to try what the coach says and see if it works for them. But he follows that up with also the coach can only teach what they know, and they won't know how your body works, which is a fair point, which comes back down to how can Nate Sexton teach
Every
so many
different
different,
person.
yeah.
I think what you can do in those is a general framework. It's probably, I tend to always relate back to like Pareto's law and using the 80-20 rule. And so this 20% of these tips will work for 80% of the people,
Right.
type thing, if you
Yeah.
want to use it in that aspect. So, maybe that's part of it.
Yeah. And then Dylan finishes it off by saying ball golf lessons are how most golf pros make a living. It's a similar situation.
Okay, so it's not unique to our sport, but you would think with ball golf, it should be a little bit different because my next point that I want to say is I really hope that as disc golf is growing and you're getting what we are seeing is a lot of really young players coming in and being successful early. And I wonder if part of that is their malleability
Mm-hmm.
in the fact that, like as mid 40 guys, as we like to say, because we're not 50 yet. So we're mid 40 guys. um, your body gets a little tighter, your joints are a little bit maybe not as malleable and loose
Yeah.
as those younger players. So maybe that's it. But I'm hoping that some of those players go into sciences and they start doing the biomechanics. And when Dylan mentions that about ball golf lessons, you would think with the amount of money and the amount of time golf has been around that the biomechanics of golf you would think are down to like minuscule differences. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is the exact best way to swing a golf club.
Right.
Like you would think it's that way, and I don't know if we've reached that with disc golf by any means, not even close.
Oh, no. No, for sure. But I mean, the same with ball golf or, disc golf or even, soccer, football, hockey, whatever you want to call it. The goal is always there.
Mm-hmm.
The goal is in disc golf, the goal is to throw this piece of plastic the farthest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, how can I get the disc to travel far? So RPMs equal spin, nose angle, all of those things are what makes the disc go far.
Right.
So take that into the form side of it, then you have to say, how can I make this lump of bones and mush make this plastic disc do the thing that I want it to do the most efficient?
Right.
So that's what basically it comes down to. It's not like you're talking about form mechanics and biometrics. Is have we got down? One of the earlier questions was, do we really know the correct form?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there's a correct form, but we know what the output should be.
Right. We
So,
know what the outcome.
yeah. So
How
it
do you
doesn't
get
really. I'm not going to say it doesn't matter because obviously it matters for longevity in the sport and damage to your muscles and bones and things
Mhm.
like that. But as long as the outcome is that the disc travels and spins at the highest rate and goes it with nose down and the angle and everything like that, how you get it there, I don't think matters as much.
Okay.
Or I shouldn't say it doesn't matter as much. I think it's more there is no one definitive. It can be different for different people.
Gotcha. So then why don't we do this, and we'll put this out to Dylan and Brock as we're going through this. Let's say I'm going to fill up and you're going to fill up your carts and your Ferris wheel, your different seating carts.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to we got 2 people in the chat, plus we got the 2 of us. We're going to have 4 different carts there.
Okay.
What is the one piece of advice, Brock? What is the one piece of advice, Dylan, that you're going to put in one of those carts for us to work on over these next 4 weeks? And then Darryl, what would you put? What's the tip that you've been told that you think out of everything from Smith Lake Farms or watching videos or being on Pro Disc Golf Academy? What's that one tip that you would think is important to put in a cart and practice for a week? And then I'll do the same. Do you have one?
Well, I could have a few because
No.
I know.
One.
I'm just
You've got
thinking
one cart.
one cart. I'll only put one thing in, but my point is, I guess it depends on. No, okay. That's all right. I'll just say one thing, but this is my personal to me that I would
Yes.
say is a good thing to work on because I know it's a common thing that I do. So my one tip, and I would put in, and I even do this. So this is why I know it's a tip that works for me.
Okay.
Is, and I mentioned it, is work on reach back.
Okay.
Is because I'm very, and I don't know if this is a very beginner um
Skill to
often
learn or
no, like a very
mistake?
common mistake that beginners make is rounding.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I can work on it, and I work on reaching back straight and not rounding. And then once I feel like I've got that in, then we talk about the train tracks or the knees or whatever. Then I'll realize my disc is always going to the right, and then I'll realize I'll take a second to actually think about it. I'm like, oh, I've gone back to rounding again. So that's something that is always on my mind that I have to work on continually is reaching back and not rounding.
Okay, so that's the first car. The
Yeah.
Darryl car is going to have reaching back, not rounding.
What
And
is,
I'm seeing that. Well, we'll get
what's
there. Let's.
no, what's Jeremy's? Because we want to put you on the spot now without you
Okay.
saying whatever else.
Well, I think for me, what I find has been helpful for me. So I don't know that this is the best tip
Mm-hmm.
or not, but it would be something that maybe I would spend some time working on because I've had success with it in the past.
Mm-hmm.
And one of those ones is when you line up and you're standing on the tee box and you're looking at your target.
Yeah.
One thing that I think a lot of players and even I have been known to do in the past is to stare at the target the whole time. And then when I reach back, my arm will hit my chin and
Yeah.
I don't actually get the right power on that throw. And
Right.
then the other thing about that would be is that as I'm do look back, sometimes I'm very quick to try and turn my head back. And I think that whipping of the head whips my shoulder. So you're
Right.
asking me what my thing is as I'd focus on
Yeah.
is to not necessarily stare behind me the entire time, but a lot of times what it'll be like when that disc is in my hand and I reach back, keep my eyes on the disc so that my head is only coming through as quickly as the disc is. And hopefully I'm not yanking my shoulder and my neck and my head ahead of the disc.
So to put that into a little cart on the Ferris wheel is
Stare at the disc.
head movement.
Yes, head movement. Yeah. Yeah,
Good.
there you
No,
go.
that's a good tip.
And then what do we have here from Dylan and Brock?
Dylan's maybe want to elaborate on this a little bit, but he wants to add high slow hand.
So now, yeah, maybe clarify for us here, Dylan. Are you talking that you've got your hand that's holding your disc? Is that your fast hand in my mind? And is your slow hand your empty hand? So you're putting that hand high and bringing it low, or is I don't know what that means.
Yeah,
So.
expand on that one, please, Dylan.
Yeah.
Brock says on backhand, what made a huge difference for me was, was arming the disc as overthrow puts it.
Okay.
So arming the disc.
What does that
Maybe
mean?
you need to
Well,
elaborate
he's got
on
a
that.
little more there. Practice throwing the disc while keeping your back to the throw, so it is only the arm. Their video explains it way
Okay,
better.
so it's kind of
Similar to what I'm
similar to
saying.
what you're saying is not looking forward or not turning your body as you're pulling through. So keeping the disc behind you and your body facing backwards, and then pull with the arm, as opposed to turning your body and trying to. But practice throwing the disc. Oh, only practice throwing the disc. So we're not doing this in like a tournament or in an actual round. practice throwing the disc while keeping your back to the throw, so it is only the arm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so it's kind of similar to what you're saying about
The
not
looking back.
turning with the disc, and then maybe that goes into
And then Dylan there, we were totally over our heads. We were like analyzing for the throw. And he does have a really good point there. He says that's actually, he's talking about putting. And it's true, right? How many putts do you have in any given game versus how many drives do you have?
oh, for sure.
Right. So
I've
it's,
said that before, is that a 400-foot hole, if you can throw 350, then you've got a 50-foot upshot, and then you're going to tap it in.
mm-hmm.
Or if you can throw 200, 199, and have a 1-foot tap in, it's still a par.
Yes.
So the drive and the upshots, while still important, your putting is where you're gonna get those numbers down.
Yeah. And I'm thinking too, Darryl, is one of the things of after we've played Bailey's a number of times, I really like the joy and the pain of Bailey's in the fact that I think playing at a more difficult course, just as maybe Brock was mentioning earlier and Dylan was playing with people who are better and who can give advice, it raises your game.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the thing would be I'm interested in is I'd like to get out there where we can do 2 rounds together. And I want to do a round with our whole bag, and I'm thinking to Wally on the weekend, to
Mm-hmm.
Wally O'Volley, over in the 50 age category he can play. He was playing down the 40s, and he tore up the course from the Reds.
Right.
And I know he throws multiple different discs, but I also know he has some physical ailments that he's always dealing with, like we all are getting to this age. So my second thought is to the second round, let's take everything above a fairway, like a fairway and higher, out
Yeah.
of our bag.
Right.
So all you have is mids and putters, and play
Yeah.
the second round with those and see what the round does. And put as many of them in as you want, but don't have anything higher than a 5-speed.
Right.
And then see if that changes the game.
Yeah.
And that might
So-
be the equivalent of like in golf. I've done some rounds where you stop at what's your straightest club, and say it's a 5-iron. I can hit the 5-iron straight every single time.
Yeah.
Okay, you don't have anything in your bag higher than a 5-iron, and as a result, as you said,
Yeah.
oh, you threw 360 and then 100.
Mm-hmm.
Well, why don't you just throw a couple 200s or a couple 175s or
Yeah.
something
Yeah.
like that?
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So one thing I would just mention on that, you say about, and like they said in the chat there, is when you go out, try and play with people better than you.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you like to go out practice with me. That's why you like to go out and play with me a lot.
Number 59.
There you go.
Well, you joke about it, but there is something to that, because I think we have a friendly competition, and on any given day, I think you'll have more. If we're doing 18 holes, 12 of them you've probably got the better of me on, and then maybe 6 of them I got the better of you on, or pick your kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so I'm able to push you on 6 holes. You just happen to be able to push me on 12.
I mean, it's one of those things where you can say hole by hole, 18 to, or 12 to 6 or whatever, but over the whole course of the round, and over the whole course of, like, say, a month or 2 months of us playing,
Mhm.
I think we're very similar in our game. I may have the edge on you, but if we were playing match play, it would be a different.
Yeah,
It
would
could be a different result. I
Boy,
might.
that's a content idea.
It is a content idea. I could win. Like you said, 12 out of the 18 holes.
Mm-hmm.
But if the ones that I win, I was getting a birdie and you were getting a par, but the ones that you were winning, you were getting a birdie and I was getting a triple bogey.
Mm-hmm.
A win of a hole is one thing, but the actual score is something different. So, there's 2 ways to look at that, and
Yeah.
and it's definitely. I like your idea of only using mids and lower, just because we've done that at Alberta Hospital with the Alberga.
Well, we've done just a berg, and that's kind of taking it to an extreme. But I'm thinking,
look what it did. That we always say, we got pretty much the same or close to the same scores we did with our whole bag. So
yeah,
a lot of those discs we don't really need.
So, well, that's good. And we appreciate Brock and Dylan for contributing to that conversation. I think that was, that's good. I've got 4 things that I can look at. Putting, of course. So I guess that's 1 week of putting, and we'll go from there. Now, yeah, thank you, Brock, for the chat. And we're going to go into Dylan. If you're sticking around, you could be part of this quiz with Darryl. You could set your own timer here and see how fast you can answer these questions. But Darryl, why don't you set us up for this quiz? So I think you need to do is you got to get the screen up.
There you go.
New quiz, who disc? We got a timer. It's going to be a speed round. 20 discs I put on there. I went to try discs. And when I did that, I took from the putter section, like the 1 speed, and I pretty much just took all of them that I could find and I used them, and then I came up with clues. So I'm not sure if these questions are going to be super simple
Right.
or hard, but I think last time when you did it was 3 minutes and 50 seconds was your time.
Okay.
So you're looking to beat that. And you're going to take that screen there and you're going to put it up there
Yeah.
and we're ready to go. So what are you waiting for?
Well, if we just go back to the beginning of that story,
Yeah.
you said, "Okay, Darryl, so why don't you set it up?" And then just proceeded to take over the whole
Oh,
thing.
set it up there. I meant set up the one on the
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted
technical
me.
aspect.
Oh, okay. I thought you wanted me to introduce it or tell people what it was about.
Oh, I
But you
apologize.
kind of went over. No, that's fine. Okay, let me bring up the screen here.
I was like, don't get us laughing again.
No, but you wanted me to. So let me. Well, I can't do both. I can either bring this up or I can bring up
Okay,
the
so
timer.
put that up there, and then what we can do is, Dylan, take a screenshot of what you see there, and I'm going to read off the discs. So we've got,
If you want to play along.
if you want to play along, we've got the Berg, the Armadillo, the Birdie, the Beetle, the Dogwood, the Glyph, the Claws, the Upshot, the Yang, the Spore, the Glitch, the Yin, the Pitch, the Hydrogen, Parachute, Polecat, Challenger, Agent, Beaver, and Ankylosaurus. So
Okay.
those are your answers. 10 of them are going to be right and 20 are going to be wrong. So what your goal is now is I'm going to ask you these questions.
How many is there?
There's 20.
So 20 can't be wrong.
10 will be right, 10 will be wrong.
There you go. That's better.
That's better. Sorry
Okay.
about that. And when you're ready to start the timer, I will ask you the first question and get ready to go. You got the words up in front of you, and then Dylan, you can
I got
play
them.
along. You can get the timer going too. I know there's a little bit of a delay, but if you get them first try, you know you're going to beat Darryl on it that way.
All
Maybe
right.
you pause your timer while Darryl kind of thinks about it.
Okay, I'll count you down. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, I'm ready. Let me just go. Okay, 3, 2, 1, go.
I am not sure I'd fly to nationals this fall if I found out they didn't have any of
Parachute.
these on. Yes, the disc is our master. It chooses who will go and who will stay.
That would be
The disc is our master.
glitch.
No. You may see this disc if you were out on a hike. You'd love its colorful flowers or later on their red berries.
Dogwood.
Yes, you might find this disc on a wall in an ancient pyramid.
Glyph.
Yes, this disc is associated with the moon, darkness, cold, and passivity.
Yin.
Yes, correct.
Oh,
Wikipedia says that this disc was first on the Earth 52.
Ankylosaurus.
Wrong. A friendly disc, you think. After all, it represents Canada. But careful if you do run into one, as you wouldn't want to
Beaver.
get. Yes, we wouldn't be arguing about whether Jack could have fit on Rose's door if it wasn't for this disc.
What? We wouldn't be arguing. It wasn't for this disc. Oh my goodness! Why can I not see a word that? Oh, Berg.
Yes. This question, click. This
Glitch.
Although the new ones have all the modern technology you could want, for some reason people still prefer the classic ones.
Beetle.
Yes. And then we go back to this disc is our master. It chooses who will go and who will stay.
Well, it's obviously Toy Story, the little minion things, the toys. What toy is it? Agent, Upshot, Birdie, Beetle, Yang, Challenger, Claws, Armadillo, Glyph, Polecat, Bird. I mean, okay. Armadillo.
No.
Birdie.
Oh no, we're going to the next question. You have
Oh,
two.
okay.
Wikipedia says that this disc was first on the
Hydrogen.
Earth. No. This disc is our
Polecat.
master. No. Wikipedia says this disc was first on the Earth 52 to 55
Spore?
million years ago. No. This disc is our master.
Birdie.
No. 52 to 55 million years ago, this disc was first on the Earth.
Claws.
No. Okay, this disc.
Claws.
Yes. So now you're down to Wikipedia says that this disc was first on the Earth
Yang?
52 to 55 million years ago. No.
Polecat?
No.
What? Armadillo?
Yes, correct. Push the buzzer. 321. Hey, you beat your last score.
Should have had some of those.
Well, that one I thought that last one was a good one because exactly what I thought you would do, you did.
Yeah.
Because and I actually did a double check because I had to, because AI, when you do your first searches on Google and stuff now. No, but you know how on the top of Google it gives you an AI answer?
Yeah.
So I was like, 50 armadillo was I was like, how long has the armadillo been on the Earth? And it was like 52 to 55 million years ago. And I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
So then I was like, well, how long has the ankylosaurus been on the Earth? And then when I looked at that, it was only, well, maybe it was like 270 million years ago. So it is a lot of years.
Yeah.
But apparently armadillos have been around forever. There was giant armadillos and different things like that.
Yeah. Honestly, I wasn't listening to the time frame. I just heard first on the Earth million years ago. So instantly I went to Ankylosaurus. I wasn't even thinking about that it was only 52 to 55 and not 165 is what the term the number that you hear all the time. But
well, then it's also when you look at, then I said, well, how old's the Earth? And I can't remember what the number that came up, but it's like, whoa, I thought the Earth was just born yesterday or something.
It's like 2,000 years, 2,025 years old.
Yeah. Not quite, but
there was a couple there that, and it's one of those things where you get tunnel vision. You're trying to expand, you're trying to look at them all, but as you're looking at them, they're not registering.
Right.
And Berg just totally wasn't,
and it's kind of like those ones. I didn't know if you were going to give me a hard time because it's not called an iceberg,
right?
Which is technically what we'd be thinking. But I felt that there was a close enough tie.
That one I'll give you.
And same thing with the claw versus claws. I was like, it's
I could picture the
claw.
I could picture the characters from the
Toy Story,
from the Little Martians. And that's what I was looking for. I was trying to fixate on what the actual characters were, as opposed to, of course, they go where the claw says and things like that.
So. Yeah, and that's why I tried to say it again after. We're like, this disc is our master.
Yeah.
So, and you got the dogwood one really quick. Nationals, I didn't even get to finish the sentence there, and you had parachute. That was parachute.
Flying. I instantly went to something in the air, and then parachute was the one that just came to mind.
And you got my kind of fun one there about the glitch right away too, hey?
Right.
So there you go. Another quiz done. You've improved on your time. I don't know. Do you still enjoy it?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I like quizzes and little trivia things like this anyway. So, and as much as I like doing them, I like putting them together as well. So, I don't believe we have an episode next week, so it would be another Around the Basket. Or shouldn't say don't have an episode, but we don't have a fantasy episode or anything lined up, so it'll be another Around the Basket. So challenge is on for me to put another one, and it may not be the same as this, although I do like this format.
I think this format is good for timing because really now we've probably chatted for maybe an extra 10 minutes with the starting and the finish here, and it's not because I think when we did a couple of those other ones, they're going on 45 minutes for a contest.
The timer is good because you've got to go fast to try and beat the time.
Yeah.
So whether it be a question of who in 1863, and it's like you can take your time to think about the answer, or you can just say pass and go on to the next one. But this, like you said, it's very visual. It's very there. You've got your choices. You've already got the answers. You just have to figure out which one is the answer.
Yeah, it's kind of like a line match game with twice as many answers there are questions, essentially, is what we're doing. So
that's good. I like it.
Good. Well, that is what I've got for tonight on Around the Basket. Is there anything else you want to throw in there before we wrap up?
No.
No. I think I did have in here that we had the Cold Garden Limber Open is actually happening this weekend, and it's down in Calgary. It's full, so it's another one of those great events. And I think they're using 4 courses this year. They're setting up the Temp at Elliston,
Oh yeah.
but plus they've got Curry, DRM, and Baker Park. So they're
Okay.
playing 4 different courses.
Nice.
And I did notice that I think on their volunteer sign up, I know a lot of people don't use disc golf scene, especially if you're a friend or you're part of a
Mhm.
friend of the community or family,
Yeah.
then you might just say, yeah, I'll be there.
Yeah.
But I could see that there was only 4 people signed up on disc golf scene under volunteers. So if somebody wanted to go down to Calgary this weekend, or if you're already down there,
Mhm.
go join up. And it's a great event, and it's
But-
always good to support that group. Like we love our sponsor BR Disc Golf. They do lots of great things up in Edmonton and all over Alberta, and Limber is doing lots of great things down there too.
Yeah. Speaking of volunteering and things like that, by the time this episode comes out, because this won't be coming out to the weekend, but if you happen to be down there, or if you want to just double check, Joe Henderson was looking for a
Oh,
caddy,
right.
so check in with her on her socials on the Saturday. Maybe she hasn't been able to find a caddy. Maybe you want to your weekend freed up and you're down there. Maybe just reach out to her on Instagram, check to see if she did find a caddy, because if you would like to caddy for her and she doesn't have one, I'm sure she would want you to do it for her.
Yeah. Well, and I could say, you caddied for me over the weekend, and I actually had a chance to caddy for Mark Thompson. And I'll tell you, which I thought was kind of interesting for me, is when I was caddying, I don't know if you have the same feeling. Maybe it's different for you because you're caddying for somebody in a division that you would play,
Mm-hmm.
but I was caddying for someone in a division I don't play in.
Yeah.
I didn't even have one thought of throwing a disc. I was all about
Right.
that person and what we could do to help make their game as best as it could be,
Yeah.
and trying to have that balance of what does this person need. I enjoyed that. Like, I think I enjoyed that as much. I'd love to play,
Mm-hmm.
and I'll never pass up on an opportunity to play, but I loved to be a caddy. But if you're caddying for Joe, you're probably just carrying a bag. She knows what she's doing.
Well, I was just going to say the same thing, because down at Spring Runoff, I caddied for Big Friendly,
Yeah.
and at no point did I think, you know what, you want
Maybe you should pull this.
maybe you want to pull out that other disc. No, because obviously they know their game, they know what they're playing, right? And I don't know if that was the same thing for you and Mark. Mark played in MA2. It's a division that you could play in.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever we do play with Mark, Mark's got a better game than us most of the times. Sometimes it can be close.
Yeah.
Most times I think he's got the edge by a couple strokes on us. So maybe it comes to the level at where you're playing. If you're playing with a person that knows their own game and they know how they want to play, and is not in our division,
Right.
you kind of step back and you don't even think about offering a suggestion, because you're like, they know their bag more than me.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying that that's the reason why it works between me and you. I don't think have you ever caddied for me?
No, I don't
I don't
think
think
so.
I've ever had a caddy.
No.
No.
Well, and you haven't played as many tournaments this year either for the
that's
opportunities,
true.
and it is tough if you do. We're likely playing the same tournament,
Mm-hmm.
so then we can't caddy because we're playing one card away from each other or something like
Right.
that.
I've caddied for Sonia. I've caddied for you. I've caddied for Big Friendly, Kyle Weems.
Maybe that's your secondary career as a professional caddy.
Yeah, almost got to caddy for Kristen Sorrells, but
Mhm.
didn't get a chance to last weekend. But maybe I can do that.
Well, and I think that was the thing, is, as you said, is maybe you can't be the person to recommend a disc or that, but sometimes just being there in a support role and reading the room.
Yeah.
Right. Because sometimes like Mark and I know each other, and you and I know each other well enough that when I need to calm down a bit, maybe, or when I need to be pumped up a little bit, maybe.
Take
or
your mind off something, talk about something else. Yeah,
Exactly.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, we should probably get off that screen.
All right. Well, Darryl, it was another good, successful episode.
Yeah.
We had a great start, a great middle, kind of a fun end of the
Yeah,
other episode.
I like
and this was a great episode too.
It was. I think it's a good topic that we had. It's a topic that everybody needs, even if you just play recreationally, you still want to get better. So working on your form or working on disc golf, how to get better, is something that applies to all of us.
Mm-hmm. And one of the ways that once you get better and that type of thing, and say we were all out there, you know what I'm thinking about? I got
What
a
are you
great
thinking
one.
about?
I'm thinking about this. If you had that Ferris wheel,
Yeah.
and you turned it on the side so it was lying flat,
Right.
and you laid it over top of the target that you're supposed to be throwing the discs at,
Mm.
and it was spinning, it would kind of be
Round
around the
the
basket.
Thanks, everybody.